Hey everyone, my name's Ali and welcome back to my channel, Mindful Living. In today's video, I'm sharing an updated garden tour showing you guys how my container garden has been growing throughout August. Along with a huge harvest, I'll be harvesting most of my plants today, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first plant I'm harvesting here is my yellow pear tomatoes. This has been the most prolific year for tomatoes for me. I'm growing 3 different varieties in my container garden. This is an indeterminate variety of tomato and it did grow very tall. I used a stake to support it because it grew about 6 feet tall. I still have lots of fruit growing and ripening on my plant, and I've gotten multiple harvests off of this one tomato plant so far. While I typically grow smaller, determinate varieties of tomatoes because I have very limited space, I am really happy that I introduced this one into my garden this year because it did grow really well vertically, and with the amount of tomatoes I've harvested this year, it was definitely worth the space. So here is my first harvest. This was a couple weeks ago. They are small, really sweet cherry tomatoes. They're actually the sweetest tomatoes I've ever grown, and I absolutely love the flavor of these. And here is the second harvest. This footage was taken only a couple days ago. And I'll probably get one more harvest before the end of the season, as there's some that are ripening still on the plant. The next plant I'm going to show you and harvest is my bush stake tomatoes. This is by Burpee and I grew it from seed. I have to say this is my favorite type of tomato I have ever grown. I love tomatoes. If you guys been following my channel for a while, you know that it's my favorite thing to grow in my container garden. These tomatoes are very similar to a beefsteak slicing tomato. The only difference is this variety has a more compact, bushy growth habit, whereas beefsteak tomatoes grow quite large. I absolutely love the flavor and texture of these tomatoes. They were very large and meaty inside, and for being such a small plant, I was quite impressed with how many tomatoes I got. So overall, it's a very compact yet high producing variety and one that I will be continuing to grow for many years to come. Next up is Regina tomatoes. This is a variety I've been growing in my container garden for 3 years now, but of all the years, this has been the best year. This year my plant grew really tall and produced more tomatoes than I've ever seen this variety produce for me. You can just see the height of it here. It grew about 4 feet tall, and other years I've only had it grow about 2 to 3 feet. These tomatoes are a little bit smaller, but they do not lack flavor. They're delicious, and I love letting them all ripen on the vine. There's a few that are just blushing, and you can feel free to take those off your plant as well and let them continue to ripen in your kitchen. This just makes sure that no pests or squirrels or anything gets to them before you do. I got quite a large harvest off this plant, and I have lots more that are still growing in my garden. So here is all the tomatoes I harvested. I have bush stake, Regina, and yellow pear cherry tomatoes. Like I said, it was my best year for tomatoes, and I'm super happy about that because I've enjoyed eating these in all different ways, from bruschetta bread to salads to slicing them on my sandwiches and wraps. Moving on to bush cucumbers. While it was my best year for tomatoes, it definitely wasn't for my cucumbers. Every year I experience powdery mildew in my garden, and typically it's only on my cucumber plants. This year I only got 2 cucumbers before the disease took over the plant and I wasn't able to save it, but I am happy they were quite large cucumbers, and there's always next year. Next up is bell peppers. I have about 6 bell peppers growing on the plant here, but they are not yet ripe. I like to wait and let mine ripen to a nice red color, which usually happens sometime in September, so I'm still waiting on those. Another pepper that I'm growing is hot banana peppers, and these are a staple in my summer container garden. I find with banana peppers you get a lot of peppers for one plant as they do grow a little bit smaller. Again, you can let them ripen from yellow to orange to red, and I like to harvest them when they are a mixture of colors, so I'm taking some of the red ones here along with a few yellow ones. In comparison to other years, my peppers are a little smaller this year, but I did get more of them. I do have quite a few peppers growing now at the top of the plant after I harvested the bottom ones, and I'm waiting for a few of those to ripen as well. Next, I'm harvesting my sweet banana peppers. These ones grew quite a lot larger than the hot banana peppers, and I let most of them ripen to red. I think that they have the best flavor when they're red and they're sweeter. Overall, I got 6 sweet banana peppers off this plant so far, and I have a few more yellow ones as well. You can eat and enjoy sweet banana peppers the same way that you would bell peppers, and I like to use them in a variety of different meals, my favorites being stir fry and fajitas. The last pepper I'm harvesting today is my jalapeno peppers. I got so many jalapeno peppers this year that I honestly didn't know what to do with them all. I used some to make salsa, and I also made homemade jalapeno poppers. If you guys want to see a recipe on that, make sure to leave me a comment down below. Also, here in my hanging basket, this was supposed to be a sweet mini bell pepper. But once I harvested and bit into one, I quickly realized it was not a sweet pepper, and these are actually jalapenos as well. So I ended up with 2 jalapeno plants in my garden this year, which was not planned. I must have mixed up the seeds when I was planting. So I'm still trying to find a few different ways to use up the rest of these jalapenos. Here's a little bit of an overview of the harvest. I still have quite a few in my fridge that I'm trying to come up with a few other recipes to use them in. So again, if you have any recipe ideas for jalapenos or spicy peppers, leave it in the comments. Moving on to bush beans, here I am harvesting a yellow wax bean variety. I like to grow these ones every year, and I do plant multiple plants in one container, so this one large size container has 3 plants in it. Beans are a great thing to grow in the summertime because they can stand up to the heat and they are fairly high producing. Harvest your beans when they are about as thick as a pencil, and that way they won't be as stringy or tough, and they'll be more flavorful. I prefer to grow bush beans over other varieties because again, they are compact and they only grow to a set height, which is great for people like me who have a small space garden. Here I am showing my curly kale plant, and I've been harvesting quite a lot off of this over the summer months. While kale is a cool season crop, I continue to grow it into summer by giving it afternoon shade when the sun is hottest. The best thing about kale is it has a long lifespan. The more that you harvest, the taller your plant will grow, producing more leafy growth at the top. Here is my black Tuscan kale, and you can see just how long the stem is here, but there's lots of new leafy growth at the top. Next, I am showing my beets. I'll be doing a harvest of all my beets today. These did fairly well. I had a few that were larger and a few on the smaller side, so spacing is definitely important when growing beets in containers. I find if I space them too close together, they don't grow as large. The one on the end here was the largest one, which was pretty far apart from the other beets. Overall, I got 9 beets in total, with 2 of them being larger and the other ones being more on the smaller side. After harvesting your beets, make sure to also keep the greens as they are edible and great to use in salads. The next plant I'm showing here is my strawberries. These are an ever-bearing variety of strawberries, and I have 2 plants in my one hanging basket. I've gotten quite a few large strawberries this year, but I have been having a problem where wasps are coming and eating the berries before I can. I typically find them in the garden, but they've never actually eaten the strawberries before. I keep finding little holes in all of my berries. I'm curious if this has happened to any of you guys. Make sure to leave a comment down below if it has. Again, I've been growing strawberries for years without any problems, and this year I just can't seem to keep them away. And the last plant I'm going to show here is my herbs. I've been growing rosemary, oregano, thyme, and parsley, all of which has done really well over the summer months. I have quite a lot of herbs to harvest here still, but typically I harvest my herbs as I need them. Well, that's it for this video today. I hope if you guys enjoyed this garden tour and harvest that you will leave me a like, leave me a comment down below. I love connecting with my subscribers, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.